It is time to cook with Candy, and today I am making lasagna. So my ingredients, I have lasagna pasta, I have ground turkey, and then I have some turkey Italian sausage because I don't eat pork. Alright, so I have fresh mozzarella because fresh mozzarella is good. I have some ricotta with whole milk. And then I have like a shredded Parmesan cheese that I got because I like, if I'm doing a lot of cheese, I like fresh cheese. But however, I do have this Italian style cheese that's not really fresh, but whatever. I use ragu sauce. You can use any. I'm going to use a little red wine vinegar in my sauce. My seasonings are fennel, parsley. I have fresh parsley that I'm going to chop up as well. Italian seasoning, black pepper, garlic powder, seasoning, cloves, garlic, bread, and then you need a deep pan. So this is a deep lasagna pan. You can do it in whatever pan you please, but I have a deep pan because I like for my lasagna's layers to be thick. And I'll start off with how I cook it. So I left off my fresh vegetables. I had some scallions left from when I did my Chinese stir fry. So I chopped up some scallions, I chopped up some fresh garlic, I chopped up some fresh parsley, and I chopped up some fresh mushrooms because I love mushrooms in my Italian dishes. So right here I have my lasagna noodles. I don't like boiling lasagna noodles because they break, and I don't like that. So what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to cook them raw, but I have some water boiling in my tea kettle, and I'm going to lay this lasagna in here. And then I'm going to pour some hot water on it. And I'm going to let it sit probably for about 20-30 minutes while I prep and cook the meat. And then I'll be ready to do my... Okay, so I lined all my noodles in. And I'm not going to use them all. But I'm going to pour this hot water in this tray until I get them all covered. And this is, to me, the better way. It doesn't cook them all the way. And I don't want them cooked all the way. But I do want them softened because they cook as they bake. I just don't like boiling them in the pot because you got to stir them. And when you stir them, they break. So I'm going to leave them in here in this hot water. And I will let them just soak in it. So I just put enough water to cover all the noodles. And I'm going to let that just sit and soak. So next up is my meat. Because I'm cooking with turkey, I want to oil my pan. And this is a flavored olive oil. It's basil, garlic, natural flavor, extra virgin. So it just got basil and garlic. So what you're seeing in there is just basil. So unfortunately, that's the end of that. But what you could do is just stuff some fresh basil in here, stuff some garlic in here, and then put some oil in it. And it'll always be flavored with that. So that's kind of what I do. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add my meat in here. And I'm going to season my meat in the pan. The oil got hot a little, so I'm going to go ahead and start turning this down. Go ahead and season this. Got my seasoning salt. I don't want it to start cooking like a hamburger, so let me go ahead and start blending this right now. This is a real big pan because I'm going to make my sauce in it. So it looks like my meat may be not enough. But that was a pound of ground turkey and probably a pound of ground turkey. Turkey Italian sausage. So I'm going to try to just mend this a little so it won't cook too fast. And then I'll finish seasoning it.
And you blended what together?
Turkey Italian sausage and ground turkey. And I just sprinkled a little seasoning salt in. So I'm going to add some garlic powder in here. I'm going to grab some black pepper in here. And some Italian seasoning. And I am going to add this green onion, all of that garlic. I'm going to add half of this parsley because I want to, of course, top it off with parsley to make it look pretty. All of those mushrooms. And I forgot that I was adding my seasoning blend, my favorite seasoning blend. which is just a combination of onions, green pepper, celery, and some parsley flakes. It's not a whole lot, but it's all that I would need for my spaghetti. I didn't put a lot of
seasoning salt.
I also want to add my oregano in here. So I have this oregano and basil mix. I love basil in any pasta. It's so good. I don't have any fresh basil though. I have fresh parsley though. And then I'm going to add my fennel seed. And fennel seed is the trick for some really good lasagna. Like, fennel seed smells like lasagna. I don't know if you've ever cooked with it, but I'll add my fennel seed and it just takes it to the top on that flavor. So, good trick for great flavor. Fennel seed is good with pizza too. Like all pasta dishes. Or all Italian dishes. My bad, not pasta dishes.
This smells so good, Mom.
Yes, it does. You smell all of this. So, you definitely want to mince through it. And it's brown, but just because it's brown, it's not to my likings because this is turkey. And again, turkey is not the same as beef. You want to allow it to slowly cook a little more. So I'm chopping through it. I got some back oil in here, but it's not a whole lot. So it's not, I guess I can probably drain it. You can either drain it, which is not a lot in here to drain, or you can just let it cook on low and it'll evaporate. Not all evaporate, but
I don't think you should drain it.
You don't think I should drain it
either? No, I want all the juice. I want all the smoke.
Alright, so that's pretty much it. It's really good and it's really done, but I'm going to just let it mince up a little bit before I add my sauce. Add my sauce. I'm going to add probably about a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. It looks like a lot, but it's really just like a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half. And that's going to start cooking down on that. And I like to add, that's already really flavored. We got the red wine vinegar in there. And then I'll add some ragu. And once I add my ragu, I usually just go over a little with some oregano. Because oregano will cook down in that meat and you really don't get the full taste of it. So I'll add this in here. And then, so you're going to let this simmer all together and cook all together. But I like to also add a dash of sugar.
No, Mike, can you add brown sugar? That's how Sachi make hers.
She used brown sugar instead of white sugar?
Yep. I think she said she used 2 cups. We don't have to use 2 cups.
Oh, no, I'm not putting 2 cups, but Sachi lasagna would be good, so. All right, Sachi, I'm going to try brown sugar because Tiana just said you make yours with brown sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and let this come to a nice...
Shout out to my other mama.
A nice simmer, and I'm going to add brown sugar.
It's popping. Yeah, give y'all 3D view.
You just want to pop on them. All right, I'll probably add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, okay?
Cool.
And I'm going to let it simmer for a good, no lie, a good 40 minutes at least. And then by that time, I'll be ready to start to roll out my lasagna. But next, I'm going to go over to the cheese sauce. Okay, so now it's for the cheese. I do not like ricotta. I don't. However, this recipe requires it because it's lasagna. And you really can't have lasagna without ricotta. Good food tips for ricotta cheese. Don't try to use it right out the refrigerator because it's going to be really clumpy and stiff. You want to let it sit out and get room temperature. And yeah, you have to. Otherwise, it's going to just make it a little clumpier. It spreads way easier and you can thin it out better when it's room temperature. So the trick to it, if you don't like the clumpy ricotta, you have to really thin it out and just add more cheeses. I have my ricotta. I'm going to roll with some fresh Parmesan, fresh grated Parmesan. It melts better than that Parmesan that's in the little green little tube. And Tiana don't like that because she said it's fake cheese. cheese, but whatever, all of it is fake. Then I have an Italian blend so I can complete my 5-cheese lasagna. And it's like provolone, Asiago,
Romano.
Fontina. So this is kind of like a 8 or 9 cheese lasagna. And it's a little mozzarella in this blend too. So I'm just going to shred this down. And I'm going to add an egg to this. And then I'm going to blend it up. I may add a little more of that, what's that stuff called again? Ricotta. So make sure I have enough cheese to layer my lasagna. You can whip your egg before you put it in there, or you can put it in there and whip it. There's no rule about overturning this cheese. It's just a matter of getting it all well blended so that it can lay evenly in your lasagna. So the egg just helps hold everything together. I'll probably get a smaller spoon because my spoon is just collecting everything. But ultimately, you're going to blend this egg all the way in this cheese. And it makes for a really good lasagna. So my lasagna have soaked in the water and they're exactly how I want them. They're not all the way cooked, but they're soft. And they're not broken up in half. Like you see a little tear because I had to pull them apart when they were sticking a little bit. But overall, you get a really good noodle. So before I start to do anything, I'm about to come over here to my sauce that I've had simmering. And I did not let it simmer for too long, but if you can see, it's off the chain. Yeah, it's off the chain, and it smells amazing. So I am going to put sauce at the bottom of my pan. And I don't need a whole lot of sauce at the bottom, but I do want enough to help cook the lasagna from the bottom on top. Heat it to 375. Alright, so I have my sauce, and I just want enough to layer at the bottom of this. I don't need too much because the rest of it is going to go throughout the lasagna. But I do have a nice even coat, okay? So now I'm going to take my lasagna noodle, and I'm going to set that one that way. And they're not as long as the pan. So I'm gonna overlap them just a little bit. So one is going to go on that end, one is going to go on this end. And I'm going to zigzag these back and forth until I get a consistent layer across the bottom. So it looks like I'm going to do 4 in each row, which is pretty good. 1 1/2, just so I can go across the top and fill the little empty space. And it don't matter, you don't have to do this because it's going to fall where it belongs anyway, but I guess I'm a little bit of a perfectionist.
A little. A little.
Got my spatula, and I'm just going to set some of this cheese in here. And even though mine is softened, this ricotta and stuff is a little tough to work with. But you want to try to thin it out. If you like ricotta, which I don't care for it as much, you can leave it in big chunks and just get you a nice even layer. I'm not the best friend with ricotta, so I like to try to spread mine as much as possible. It's giving me trouble though right now. So I'm going to just add me enough where I think it's a layer in every spot, and then I'm going to try to spread it out as best as I can.
Stay tuned.
Right.
The goat does it again.
So I kind of use my hands, but it's really soft the way I thought it was. It took a minute though to kind of get it spread out, but I just really want an even layer across here because I'm coming back on top of this with some meat, and I just want to make sure that every spot has some of this cheese combination. But before I come on top of it with some meat, let's not forget my best friend mozzarella right here. And this fresh mozzarella that I have is already sliced and it's thick. So I'm just going to lay some pieces of mozzarella across here, kind of press them out a little bit. And I don't need to put mozzarella everywhere. This mozzarella is thick and it's going to do what it do. So I'll add mozzarella in this layer, and then I'll add mozzarella on the top because it's thick and it's gonna do the job. Quick, but that's my layer of mozzarella. Now I'm coming back with some sauce, and then we're gonna go to the next. Well, this is the next layer. We start off with sauce. So sauce this boy up.
La magic, hey. Just like that.
Yep.
Straight like that.
Coming back with my noodles. That end. That end.
Beautiful. This the last layer coming up. We'll show y'all the end result. She did that.
So my last layer was just a noodle layer. Just the top. And I'm going to spread this sauce. I'm almost a little shy on sauce, but I ain't worried about it because all you got to do is push down and get some of that sauce from the bottom.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to spread it out. Push down on that. That stuff rise up.
Just wish they could smell through the phone.
So get the top topped off. And then I'm going to come back across it with some Parmesan cheese. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the mozzarella since I only added one layer of mozzarella.
Heard you.
How about heard you? I put fresh mozzarella across the top. If I would have had a shredded mozzarella, I would have sprinkled the shredded mozzarella across the whole top and you wouldn't be able to see the gaps. But that's going to melt in its places. It's going to spread a little, but it's going to melt in its places. But the authentic smells that we smelling right now.
Smell like pizza. Mom, can you make some deep dish
smell like
pizza?
Okay, I can make a deep dish. We can do that next. Well, not next, but. So I'm going to cover this with some foil lightly. I do not want the foil to touch this cheese. So I'm going to put a light sheet of foil over here. But I do want it all to melt in together and cook in together. And I'm going to put it in the oven for 35 minutes with the foil on top. I'm going to remove the foil and then I'm going to let it cook for an additional 20-25 minutes with the foil off. And
your oven is set to 375.
Yes.
Don't forget.
And when it comes out, we have to let it rest. A lot of times people's lasagna looks sloppy because they cut into it too fast. So the first 30 minutes have passed and I have to remove the foil now because it's already cooked.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that looks amazing. That looks amazing. So now I will let it continue to cook. And basically what's going to happen is that cheese is going to kind of melt down and brown. It will bake in this form of mozzarella because this is fresh mozzarella. But if you ever go to an authentic Italian restaurant,
this is how it is.
It does definitely look like that. So you take your lasagna out the oven. And you just let it rest. You have to let it rest. Your edges may be a little crispy. It'll fall apart. So give it about 15, I say 20, 25 minutes to rest. So that the form can maintain. And then you can slice right into it. And your lasagna don't look like Sloppy Joe. Okay? I'll show you once it's plated. Cut that first piece out. And those are those layers of this lasagna we about to eat. Bon appetit.